WTF-DFW, 28 episodes.
What?
And I'm still causing controversy.
Yeah.
All right, so let's see. Let's recap. So last week was another interesting conversation. I love it because, someone texted me this week and said, "You love starting up shit, don't you?" And I said, "I absolutely do." And actually gave me an idea for today's topic. But, last week we talked about, bands using tracks. And, again, I'm not looking to stir up shit, but, first of all, it did prompt some pretty cool discussions again, which I love. But somebody made a post out there and put it in the DFW tribute band. In Facebook, there's a certain group out there.
Yeah.
And, basically saying that I'm going to, the cancel culture. I'm going to cancel bands that use tracks anymore. And somebody said, Mike said he's not going to, book bands that use tracks, and he's got the power to cancel.
Wow.
Cancel bands throughout the DFW area. That I got that kind of influence, and I'm like, no. I said, but let me clarify. First of all, we do have a good reputation or relationship with other owners, other venues, and we do talk. And I'm not, haven't been shy about that. I've been talking to people about that since we started the podcast. So, you could talk to, Keith, at Revel. You talk to Jim. You talk to Christian over at we all talk, and I have a good relationship with them. We reach out to each other. We converse, and we talk about things that are going out there in the industry. So I'm not shying away from any of that. There have been issues in the past where, I found out that a band two bands did something squirrely at another venue, and I said, you know what? Fuck that. I'm not going to, support that, so I'm not going to book them anymore.
Yeah.
Other venues said, you know what? If you're not booking them anymore, I'm not going to book them anymore either. And we all talk, but I don't have the power to, control the DFW area.
You're open.
It was, it was just crazy. And then I said, well, let me clarify my thoughts. And I shared the podcast on, that group text saying, I understand that bands are using tracks these days, and if you're in a band and it's got, a part that you can't replicate because you don't have a keyboardist and you want to play a song like Jump, whatever, and I give that as my example, cool, you use it. You're not going to be able to have, or Runaway from Bon Jovi or something. Not every band's going to have a keyboardist available for one or two songs and pay that musician just to be out there standing on the stage. My issue is when a band is replacing musicians or trying to pull the wool over the eyes of the paying parties. So if you're in a band and you have your four-piece band out there, and now all of a sudden you have a rhythm guitarist that looks like, and you hear a lead guitar part coming from a rhythm guitarist or vice versa, and that's not the truth, or you see someone standing up there moving around, running all over the place, and you hear the music going on, and nobody's playing anything. There was a recent rapper that somebody threw water at her from the second or third row, and she took the microphone, and threw it at them, hit them, and the song kept going, and her lyrics just kept going. I'm like, wait a minute. So people are more concerned. That's where I have an issue. If you're not, performing, you're trying to lie about performing, that's where I have an issue. So I just wanted to clarify that, make sure everybody understands. I understand using tracks. I get the fact that you are using a track, but, not going out there faking it. And there's also a clear distinction with, there are certain bands out there that, do party bands. And you might be going from Kool and the Gang, Casey and the Sunshine Band, to all of these, dance things from, the 80s and all of that are heavy keyboard parts, blah, blah, blah. I get it if you're putting on a show. And I think, certain people understand, hey, they're putting on the show. This isn't, i.e. like a La Freak or something, you get it. You're paying for the performance and all of that, and they draw a crowd. They have all of their audiences out there, particularly, they don't care realistically whether or not they're actually playing everything note for note and all of that. But if you're playing, i.e. Bon Jovi as a, tribute band, and I'll talk a little bit more about that this week, but and you're out there supplementing the musicians in there and using vocal edits to make yourself sound like John Bon Jovi, one song sound, that's where I have an issue. So that, just to clarify, I'm not anti, tracks being used, and I get that people do it, but there's a difference in people using them to enhance their music, and there's a difference between someone that's using it to replace the musicians, and that's where I have my issue. So thank you, though, for the commentary. I appreciate everybody's feedback, the text, the comments on other group posts, everybody referencing it. Like I said, I'll never shy away from it, and if I'm wrong, I'll admit I'm wrong, but argue it with me, or debate it with me and give me your points as to why I should be wrong about something. But, my thought is I'm talking about stuff that, to give people an inside thought on the industry or things to think about that others may not want to talk about. I'm not shy about voicing my opinion and speaking my mind. So if you like it, cool. A lot of people have told me, they appreciate, my honesty and me talking about this. They're getting a vastly different insight into the way things work and what people think about. And I think there are some people that are offended, I guess, at some of the topics because they're being accused of, some of the stuff that I talk about week to week. So
they might be shady.
They might be a little shady.
I can tell you when you were wrong right now.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I was wrong?
Yeah.
Wow.
A couple times. You said IE.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the wrong context. It's supposed to be EG.
That's an example. IE is, what is IE? IE
is Latin for that is, and EG is Latin for example.
Right. So I use it in the context of that is blah 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 blah.
I don't know.
Blah,
that's
blah.
a stretch.
So, but I appreciate you offering your opinion.
Yeah. Anybody else out there think whatever?
I do use IE a lot. Yeah. Yeah, I really do. So, so that's it. So let's see what we got going on. Last week we had live band karaoke with Shana Cobb last Wednesday. That was fun. We finally got out there after a couple of days off, but that was a good night. I love seeing we have new performers going out there. There are kids that come up there and sing too, and it just blows my mind that some of these kids are so comfortable being in that environment. And then we had the police tribute to Force on Thursday, which is great to see. That's Terry Ransom's group, another one of their groups out there. So anybody went out there to see the Force, thank you. Friday was Texas Whiskey and You with Emotions Emotion, a Billy Squier tribute. We actually went out there for the Billy Squier part of it. I had to. And I'm going to say, I text Addison during the show because Addison wasn't there. He's still recovering. He had another singer there. But I basically I text him and I text John Viola, actually, during it, who helped us find a replacement for, or helped Addison find a replacement. Their guitarist was out of hand good. He was so talented. I told Addison, I said, I'll book you guys again just because of this guitarist.
What about the lead singer?
The lead singer was incredible. I sent a message to some of our friends, during the show, and I sent the video, and she was like, holy cow, this dude can hit some notes. I mean,
because he was high up there, man.
Yeah, it was super impressive to watch. So I encourage anybody, go check out, that band. You'll be amazed. Emotions in Motion. It's a Billy Squier tribute, and I said I will be booking them again. I think I actually may have them one more time this year. So when that happens, I'm going to make sure everybody knows. Now that I know what to expect, it's phenomenal. They did such a great job.
We were listening to him last night.
Were you really?
Yeah.
He writes good music, I said back in the day I couldn't admit that, but now I can. And then Saturday night, apparently we weren't there. We went to go see our friend, Lee, Guto, Mike, Bobby. They had a few of our friends' bands were playing out at the Maverick. So that was the first time I've been out there. It was cool. I liked the place. It was great service. But in Mansfield here at Fat Daddy's, we had Back in Black with Unglued, and I've heard again the place. It was a great crowd. Everybody was like, "Holy crap!" The Back in Black band loved Unglued. Unglued said by opening up for Back in Black, it opened up their audience.
Yeah, I bet.
And he was like, "Man, we sold T-shirts there. I was,
oh, really?
And I'm like, perfect. That's all I care about." I told, JC, I said, that's my goal when I try to pair some of these bands, is I want to try to help them get exposure. And I hate that when people are like, "Oh, it's a good exposure show." That doesn't mean I'm not paying them, But I try to open up the audience for some of these other bands that maybe other people will be like, "Holy shit!" So now the next time Unglued is around, somebody was there to see Back in Black will say, "Holy crap! I remember seeing them. They're good. Come on out again." So, so I was at another great show. But before I get into this week's itinerary and what's going on in the area, this week's topic I want to talk about, and I'm going to thank Michael Rose for that because he brought it up in one of my responses, was the use of iPads. And
for the lyrics or something?
That's the point.
Yeah.
Is people using iPads. So there's a couple of different thoughts that pop into my head. First, I'm not going to say that I never used iPad because, I didn't have that, thought process, 10 years ago, 15 years ago when I moved, actually I've been in Texas 24 years. So a few years after I moved here, some buddies were like, "Hey, you want to play with us? We're in this country band." And I never listened to country back then. And I'm like, sure. I home-taught guitarist back then. I could play chords, so I had all of my songs written out on and hung up on, the microphone stand so I could see, the chord structure of the songs, which is vastly different than, me growing up playing rock, metal. It's just different playing country. So I had my cheat sheets up there, but and I'll say quite honestly, I'm nowhere near being a professional or doing this, for a living. I didn't know the songs whatsoever. So, they're playing, Alabama, and shit that I've never listened to ever in my life. And I'm like, man. You know what? I need to, I need something to be able to follow along with so I can figure out the chord structures and all of that. So I understand the need for having that if you're just starting out. And, now obviously iPads are out there. People use it for various reasons out there. But first I try to think about, and again, I'm going to go back to when I was your age, when we played years ago, I was 14 years old, I think. And my band was probably playing, 8 to 10 songs just off of the not open up and say, it was the first Poison album, with Talk Dirty to Me, Cry Tough, all of that stuff.
Sugar?
No, that's all Poison. And we played, almost every song in the album, and I knew every lyric word for word. Why? Because I absolutely loved Poison. I was a huge Poison fan as soon as they came out, almost exactly the same way with Bon Jovi, with Guns N' Roses. Still to this day, I probably know 90% of the lyrics of those songs because that's what I grew up with, that's what I listened to. It was just nonstop in my ears all the time. So when we were, back then, it wasn't known as that. We were a cover band, whatever, but we were basically tributing Poison. I did not need somebody to tell me what the lyrics were to the song, And I was up there drinking, doing whatever, but I didn't need any cheat sheets because I loved the music. I was that embedded in it. And, that was our tribute, was because we loved the music. But
I thought everybody was like that.
You would think, and that's what I would think, and that almost defines it. What makes somebody a tribute? Is it just because they're like, oh, there's a hole in the environment out there, and I think somebody should be, in a Grease tribute, whatever, right? But, and then start one up, not being fans of that music.
Yeah,
then that tells me you're just in it for the money. You're not in it for the love of that band. And I'll talk about like Mike Hamill. There is zero question that Mike Hamill's favorite band is Def Leppard. He's in a Def Leppard tribute, Def Legend. He dedicates everything he has to making that show. And I've always respected the hell out of him for that. And I tell him all the time, he deserves all of the success that they have right now. But there is no hiding the fact that he is a huge Def Leppard fan. And they try to mirror their shows exactly of Def Leppard. And I don't ever remember, well, can you imagine going to see, a Motley Crue tribute and seeing a guitarist up there with an iPad in front of them, a vocalist up there with an iPad in front of them, a bassist up there with an iPad in front of them, basically telling them how to play the song. Are they really a tribute? No, I'm being facetious. So when is it acceptable, to use an iPad? I think if, obviously, there are some vocalists that help fill in other, shows with other bands, whatever. If you're in a last-minute position to being asked to fill in a show, I get it, especially if that band's playing 25, 30 songs that you're really not comfortable playing with, but you have the voice to be able to pull it off. They ask you to help, and you're going and helping them. Cool. If you need an iPad to help you through that, I'm all for it. I get it in that context. But if this is your band and you have the same 4 or 5 members of this band, you should be practicing. Everybody should be doing their part to play it, to understand, to study the lyrics, to study the guitar parts and all of that. When I'm talking about like myself, I even think about it in terms of, everybody knows I've been going back to guitar lessons again, trying to get myself to where I want to be so I could get up on stage, start playing with some bands, blah, blah, blah. But like I said with my country stuff, I didn't know the country stuff, but the stuff that I'm learning on guitar, there's no way I would embarrass myself to get up on stage and follow an iPad to be able to do it. Because then, what's the point of playing that instrument if you're following along? I just don't get it.
Yeah.
So my thing is, if you're up there, you should be, focused in on, basically what you're doing, focused in on doing the best for that audience out there. I think it was, I thought I wrote something down about it. I saw it an interview or something with JC Scars. He was talking with April on some podcast that she does, but he made a statement saying that people deserve the experience they're paying for. Well, think about that. If you're up on the stage, you're a vocalist, your eyes should be out here. You shouldn't be looking down at an iPad or I get it. There's these things called black boxes you can put up on the stage now. I saw them at the Dallas International Guitar Show. I get it. It looks like a stage monitor, but it's showing all the guitar parts, lyrics, and it follows along with you and all. Again, if you're in a wedding band or something, you're playing 35, 40 different wedding songs, or you have people that come up and request obscure songs that you're playing, you know what? If you have that loaded in, cool. And again, I get it. But if you're up there and this is your band, you should know the lyrics. You should know the guitar, the bass parts, and all of that. And again, it goes back to if you make a mistake, cool. People expect to see mistakes, and I think it's badass when the band does. But I think that's where you get your experience from. But to me, it's just lazy then. If you're not practicing, putting everything you have into making it better, trying to study and understand the lyrics, then the composition of the music. Guto laughs all the time because there are certain, and I've talked about it in here as well, there are certain parts of songs that you expect to hear on guitar, whether it's a little squeal or something. Same thing lyrically. You need to understand the structure of that song, not just the words that you're singing, but, what's the intent of the music behind it. A lot of times it's gibberish and, people going through. But at the same point, it's, hey, think about, if you're in a band, it's your responsibility to study and be as prepared as a vocalist, as a drummer, as a bassist, as a guitarist, as you would expect your bandmates to be. So, you know, and if you're in a tribute band, I hope you're in a tribute band because you love that band and you're dedicated to being a true representation of that band. You know, like, you know, there's no doubt in my mind that, you know, Gino loves, you know, the Ramones, you know, and I think it would, you know, you see that when they're playing and all of that, they're a true tribute to the Ramones, trying to give that experience. But I'd never imagine Joe Ramone looking down at an iPad trying to remember the lyrics to his own songs. You know, like, that would just blow my mind. So, you know, that's my topic of this week. You know, how do you feel if you're a fan and you go to see a band and all they're doing is following along to an iPad? And again, I'm not talking about karaoke or anything like that where you have, you know, 40, 50 different songs being up there and whatever the case may be. I'm talking about you're in a band weekly playing, you know, 4, 5, 6 times a week. You know, your accountability to that. Do you know the lyrics? Are you putting in your work? How do you feel as a fan going to see somebody reading off an iPad? Or if you found out a guitarist is reading off of, you know, a stage monitor to try to play guitar, versus, you know, going and watching somebody performing and they're solely focused on you as the audience and not, you know, a piece of equipment that's on the stage enhancing their performance. So, and again, if you're in a band and you're using an iPad, you know, give me a reason, like a valid reason as to why that I maybe haven't stated, or if you support, you know, anything of what I'm saying, like, yeah, okay, in this context, I think it's acceptable, but this context, it's not. So that's it. That's my, you know, this week's rant. And, you know, thanks, Mike, for that topic. And, you know, maybe I just pissed some more people off with, you know, this week's conversation and all, but, you know, I don't care. You know, it's what I do. And, you know, I'm going to talk about whatever pops in our head or whatever comes up for that week. So, speaking of this week, we got live band karaoke tonight with Shannon Cobb. Tomorrow night, Texas radio legend Billy Kidd, his band Triple Lindy, is going to be at Fat Daddy's Thursday night. There's no cover. Come out and meet Billy Kidd. You'll see him out there and his band. I love watching him. I love seeing him. He texted me last week that he was coming out to watch one of the shows over the weekend. I love it, you know, that he's coming out. I didn't get out there to see him or to meet him, but hopefully I'll be able to get out there tomorrow night and pop in and say hi to him at least for a little bit. So Billy Kidd, I think Friday night we have Iconic. Again, one of those party bands, like I said. They're up there doing their thing. You know, I don't think they have any kind of, you know, saxophones or anything in their band. So if you do hear a saxophone while they're performing, that's probably a track being used. And again, I'm okay with that because that's, you know, what the band is about. It's a badass party band, though. So come on out, check out that show. And I've been supportive of them since the first time I see them. I absolutely love them. Incredible people, great, fun environment that they have from beginning of their show to the end. It's so full of energy. And then Saturday night, I think we're going to be out there. We're actually having a house party Saturday, and so a few of us may be a little inebriated by the time we get up there. But Saturday night is like a Mansfield show, and we got Landon Farrar doing the 30-minute, you know, acoustic thing opening up for Afterglow, their first time playing at Fat Daddy's. So Dean and Kevin and them, you know, this is, you know, they have an opportunity to play. They're local, so Afterglow, if you've seen them, come on out and support them. And then Lance Battalion, they've been out there before, and everybody, like I just said, in a group post about the party this weekend, a lot of my friends have been like, what about this band, Lance Battalion? I'm like, we've had them already, but now they're drawing some traction more and more, and I'm excited because we got them playing on Saturday as well. They're a local band. These kids all graduated from Mansfield High Schools.
Oh, sweet.
So I'm really looking forward to it. So Landon Farrar, Afterglow, and Lance Battalion on Saturday. So you'll probably see us out there. Don't be offended if, you know, I don't remember who you are, or, you know, I'm not, you know, uber engaging in conversation with you.
You can walk around with an iPad in front of you.
There you go. You know, with copies of people ID so I can remember their names. Next week, we got, again, Wednesday night live band karaoke with Shannon Cobb. King George is out next Thursday. That's always exciting. I love, you know, he's one of my favorite tributes that are out there, and a tribute to George Strait. It's just always great night when they're playing. So that's next Thursday, King George. Friday is Double Vision and Reflective Soul. Playing on Double Vision, that's Foreigner tribute with Reflective Soul. Obviously, we know, Collective Soul. And then Saturday is The Tools. Maybe Basket Case. We just heard from Rick that, he may be stuck out of town. So that's a tentative that they're playing, and I'm trying to get confirmation, from another buddy right now about filling in that show. And actually, I just confirmed it, so on my phone. So we'll have Frequency playing with The Tools and Basket Case. So Frequency, that's Mike, Toby, Lee, and Guto. I'm looking forward to that. We saw them this weekend. They're just getting better and better, tighter and tighter every time I see them. So that's breaking news. That Frequency will be playing. Hopefully, it'll actually be Frequency, Basket Case, and The Tools, all three of them, and I got no issue with that. So. Wow. That'll be a fun night. So that'll be next Saturday, I think August 3rd. Don't forget, all day Wednesday is Industry at Fat Daddy's. Friday and Saturday night from midnight to 2 a.m. You get your food and drink specials if you're in the service industry between 12 and 2 a.m., but all day set on Wednesdays for you. Also, big shows coming up. October looks to be a killer month. We have Enough's Enough coming out, and now we booked Mike Tramp's White Lion, so I'm looking forward to that. I'm working on a couple of other different shows with some national touring acts and some newer stuff. I'm trying to get in there that'll, draw specific crowds, and I'm really looking forward to it. So be on the lookout for our page to see what we have going on. What else? That Rockin' Taco place. My wife and I went out there on Saturday to support Dwayne. And like I text Dwayne, everybody's posting saying it's great food, and I said that's fine and all, but it doesn't have a bar. Yeah. And I can't go out there, and we don't go any place that there's no alcohol involved. If we're going out to eat, there needs to be a bar. And he's like, dude, we're attached to a bar, and I'm like, then we're in. So we went out there, and it's kind of cool. The way the setup is, you could take your food from the bar or from the restaurant into the bar, from Rockin' Tacos into the bar next door, and you can take your alcohol from next door into Rockin' Tacos back and forth. They got a killer patio out there. It's shaded, and what's crazy is it was actually pretty warm on Saturday, but we were out there, we were considering sitting on the patio just because it's completely covered in trees. It was shaded, and it wasn't really blistering hot, underneath there. So it's a great setup. Again, Dwayne, killer, good job out there. I'm glad you guys attached to a bar. So we'll be back out there. The food was awesome. The service staff was awesome. I love seeing it. So he's got a good thing going on. I hope people get out there and support him. Also, don't forget Rockstars of Tomorrow Mansfield. We're currently working on a August showcase and what bands are going to be out there. I know they're digging deep to try to create new bands because, remember, they're about creating local bands. And they just opened a couple of months ago. So finding, 4 or 5, students and getting them up to the ability to be able to play on a stage and all, it's taken some time, and I would hope that they're not just putting anything together. And you've seen the talent of these kids when they do get up there. So I think he's got one that's almost in progress. I shared a post yesterday looking for a teenage bass player. And this kid is a badass guitarist, so if anybody knows a good teenage bass player from out in the area here looking to get into a band with a phenomenal talent, and I'm talking about a kid who plays, Steve Vai and Satriani and Stevie Ray Vaughan.
Why's it got to be a teenage bass?
Because they want to keep it, around the same. They don't want like a 60-year-old bass player out there playing with a bunch of kids.
Some creep.
Yeah, something like that. So if you know anybody, just let us know so I can get you in touch with Arnie Newman and Arnie and Terry and them over at Rockstars of Tomorrow Mansfield. Don't forget Thompson's Bookstore. 8th Street is open. Remember the bombing, next door? Not bombing. The explosion on the gas main or whatever. That
hasn't been confirmed yet.
But the explosion at the Sandman, they finally opened up the street yesterday, and I believe tomorrow they're going to have a great grand opening celebration at their, what are they calling it? Not block party, unblocked party.
Yeah.
So come on out. Now there's no excuse. The roads are open all around us, and if you haven't been out there, I try to explain it to people. It is just such a phenomenal experience to be out there. We have the bookstore level, incredible drinks. The speakeasy in the basement is open, 4 days a week, I believe, from like 7 p.m. Till close. We have the cigar lounge floor up on the 3rd floor, and then the event center on the 2nd floor. Your ability to be able to rent and reserve parts of that for parties, whatever you could think of, birthday parties, engagement parties, divorce parties, and whatever. So reach out, let us know, and take a trip out there. I think you'll be impressed with the quality of drinks that we have out there and the staff as well. So don't forget, last week of the month here was Parnas, our Guns of the Month. I did check with our stores, a couple left, and it like getting close to almost being out of stock, but Colleen's got an Anderson AM-15 lower, $47. Wichita Falls got a Beretta APX 9mm pistol for $320. Granbury's got a CZ 457 17 HMR rifle. That's for $560, and you think $560, but look at the price of that. You'll see that's a badass deal. And then Mansfield's got a Taurus G2C 9mm for $240. And with we're in the election year and all, and it's funny, we were talking to a couple of Mansfield's finest, their I guess SWAT, their snipers, over at Marksman this morning. By the way, if you want, they traded in a few of their sniper rifles to purchase some new stuff from us. So we actually have 5 firearms over there from the Mansfield Police Department. One of them is a 50.
Really?
Ooh, buddy. I'm telling you.
What's that going for?
You haven't, I don't know yet. We haven't, when we were over there, we were just working on the deal and getting it done and working with them. So you have your ability to, own some Mansfield's finest sniper rifles out there as they're, and they're always kept in great shape and all of that. So come on in and visit.
I'm going to have to go see that.
And then Capone's. Again, we got the approval from the city of Burleson. Now we're just waiting on final approval on the on our application, our building permit. So it looks like we've gone through all of the hoops, and now it's any day now. And once that's done, the trigger's pulled, we're ready to start construction. So Capone's Drink Easy and Sports Bar coming soon to Burleson, Texas. So
everything's moving so fast on that one, man. Breakneck.
But I'm glad, because with that being done, we actually have some other exciting stuff that's coming up that we'll be talking about soon. But I did some walkthroughs with Mark earlier in the week about some changes that we might be doing to some of our area stuff, some additions and construction and all. So I'm looking forward to. I love the fact that we're constantly evolving, and thinking about new and exciting stuff. So be on the lookout. Angemar Retail Group, donuts,
jerky.
Yeah. So that's it. Hopefully, everybody come on out to either Thompson's, come on out to Fat Daddy's this week. I look forward to seeing you out there. Say hi. Give us, again, a like, a comment, share, subscribe, especially on the YouTube. Subscribe or encourage your people to subscribe. I try to promote other area businesses on here, talk about other venues and all. So feel free, if you're in these locations, and you support live music, go ahead, follow us, and share. Try to encourage other people to follow along. Even if they would disagree with it or have a problem with what I say, I love to hear, the debate, going on about that. But with that said, I appreciate all of the support continued. Peace.